bird, a duck, cantaloupe. You face your father, piece of dirt, piece of pizza. The end, a bigger bird, a buzzard. An even bigger possible bird, an even bigger possible buzzard. So basically the universe is made up of 4 things, 4 fluids, 4 elements. Air, obviously, fire, dirt, sticks, bugs, beasts, beetles, bakeries, all sorts of bread products, all sorts of croissants, all sorts of donuts and bagels and cakes. The Earth and the universe and the solar system is made up of those things with flour, eggs, water, heat, the energy of heat, the principles of thermodynamics, the principles of electromagnetics, the principles of all possible elements. So of those 4 things, the most important one is obviously air, because air, of course, is that which is through and because of all things. Air is that which is life itself. You think of the circulatory system of a human being or of another animal, a grasshopper, different, a mole, a porcupine, a wolf, a coyote, a pack of coyotes, maybe just one coyote, maybe just Cain. You can think of the circulatory system of apes, baboons, elks, deer, monkeys, and all other birds. It's the same thing. What is the main principle keeping them all in circulation? What is the main principle keeping them all bound by the outside physical body? The main principle keeping them all together, and in one sense moving, but in all sense moving together, is air. The second most important principle, which could probably be termed quite the opposite of air, which would be soil, dirt. Air is a pure object. Air is, even though it's made up of many chemicals, air is the purest of all pure objects. Air is pristine air. And all air, I mean, no matter what it is or what is infecting it, it's still made up of that element which can be best related to the good of the earth. And the opposite of that, obviously, is soil, which is the bad element, which is life-affirming, however, and a combination of all possible things, but in one sense, holder of darkness and holder of tunnels. Those tunnels having the possibility of being very bad. But I mean, what is it? You know, dirt and birds and things are growing out of the earth. They're only so special. You know, there's only so many times you can see a beautiful plant, a beautiful tree. There's only so many times you can love pets, dogs, cats, children. There's only so much you can devote to them before the third element comes in, which is fire, which is also related to the human emotion of anger, or steel, welding and smelting of ore. Fact is, fire is the most life-affirming, however, second to air. This is going nowhere, really. Fact is, we're stuck here. I mean, truly, the fact is we're definitely stuck here, and at least for the time being. And none of you are going anywhere. No one is going anywhere anytime soon. And so basically, even though you may think you are in some type of linear progression of life, you're not. You're basically just walking around the same room. You're basically not going very far. And even though you are going far in time, that doesn't make a difference, because that is one of the first 4 elements that is basically irrelevant. Space is more relevant than anything. Where you are in proximity to everything else is much more important than when you are or where you are. I mean, granted, it's a historical time of every time is historical, you know? Sure, you can know that. Sure, you can know, basically index the interesting historical time you're in now, but other than that, I mean, you're there, you know? And while you're there, there's not a whole lot you're going to be doing. There's not a whole lot you're going to be doing besides being there, basically. You know, it's people sitting around a room, much like you're probably doing now, just either standing or milling about or just sitting there. That's it. Sure, there are actions, there's functions of doing, but it all basically goes down to the same core of being, which is just, stuck. And I think humans realize this innately, that they're not going anywhere. They're in for the long haul. They're in for a haul, at least. They're in for a period of time. And that period of time is defined by your own life. But the crucial problem people realize is they believe that their individual life, their unique body, is the most historical and most important object in existence, or at least in their own personal existence. And it's very difficult for them to admit or acknowledge what is happening to other people, to other lives, to the room they're in, the earth, different people on the earth. And people know this, and they're trying to get out. I mean, everyone's trying to get out. They're trying to make it. They're just trying to make it, just trying to get out of the body, just trying to find some way to know themselves in another place, some way to know themselves outside of that body, outside of that individual life, because they know it's there, but they just can't formulate it, and they just can't think of it. Every act humanity has done has been an attempt to breach that gap, breach that line between body and self and soul and world and matter, to become basically what your body physically is, which is merely elements of the universe. And to break those elements down, you're breaking down the physical in general. And a lot of people don't believe in outside of the physical, but there is. Who cares? Human progress, right? A lot of times people run out of things, I run out of things to talk about, and just kind of hanging around, just kind of shooting the shit. And you get into a period of time when you just feel like that's all you're doing, you're just shooting the shit, There's nothing good's coming out. Principles of light, for instance. The main organizing principle behind all visible light is the fact that you're perceiving that light, the fact that you have eyes. The main principle behind all organizing principles of light and eyes is sight, is the vision of sight. The vision of sight, the concept of sight, the fact of seeing. And the fact of seeing means that it's being recorded, because no matter what, even if you're just wandering, you're seeing and you're recording something. And so the basic principle, the mechanics of vision is a recording process. The mechanics of memory and the mechanics of the mind. And then we're losing some type of visible light here, and it's not going to last forever, This stuff isn't going to last forever. And people don't realize that. Light's not going to last forever, The human body is light. The human body emits light. I've said this many times, but people, I don't know, maybe it's a mistake, maybe it's fake. The human body emits light. Look it up. But it ain't going to be emitting light always, Sea creatures, for instance, some sea creatures at the deep emit light and admit to being light. And once you admit that as a sea creature, as a basement bottom dweller, you have to own up to it. You have to own up to that type of responsibility as a human being, as a man creature, as a star creature. Yesterday was the closest Mars is going to come to the Earth in, I don't know, 220 years, 225 years, square root of 15 years. It doesn't make sense. 225 is the square of 15. 15 square years. And the universe as cube, the universe as a cube model is something that I don't want to talk about. Something that is irrelevant. But the fact is, you're running out of visible light. The fact is, everyone's running out of visible light. And you can't move it quick enough, And you say that, well, basically the universe is a hologram, and all we're seeing is reflections and refractions. Refractions of light. And that in fact, generally, there is no form to anything, but that can be believed or not. for the other point that I'm trying to make here, and I know we're running out of light, but the human body can break. It can break down. No one wants to talk about this. Let's do something fun.